So Sinclair's a family-owned business, been around for 60 years, and Premium Pellet is one of 5 operations within the business. Premium Pellet is our operation out in Vanderhoof that makes premium quality pellets to supply back into the pellet market, both domestically and globally. The overarching philosophy for the organization is safety by choice, not by chance. And it's really about employees engaging in the safety culture, taking some accountability for their behavior on a day-to-day basis, and making sure that everybody goes home in the same condition that they came to work.
Everything that we do starts and ends with safety, that all of our people go home safe at the end of each day. Everything that we do focuses on that.
I think we've all enveloped that safety culture. We're all a lot more comfortable bringing items up, reporting things, getting things dealt with.
The biggest safety initiatives that we've had at the plant, in my mind, is the transition of ownership from the floor and getting people to buy in on a day-to-day basis of making sure that they're looking out for themselves and making sure that they're looking out for each other, identifying the hazards that are out there and making sure that the hazards that are there for themselves and for others are controlled immediately.
Over the years, I'd have to say the most significant safety change would be the engagement at the floor level. Trying to drive safety from the bottom up, giving people more autonomy over what they can control as opposed to that structure of top down and trying to dictate what would happen.
BC Forest Safety Council is the health and safety association that supports the pellet operations in BC to help improve their safety management systems. One of the most important things for safety in the workplace starts with leadership. It all starts from above, from the CEO of the company right down to the newest employee, understand their responsibilities and what they need to do to keep themselves safe.
So the most significant safety initiatives for the site has been around dust inspections and ensuring that we're mitigating the risks associated with dust across the organization and at Premium Pellet.
Combustible dust is a buildup of dust, especially on high-end areas like wall purlings, ceiling purlings. And when you have dust movement, you get that dust cloud and you have a heat source, so that together in a confined space could lead to an explosion. First thing in the morning on every shift, we go do an inspection, and that's through the whole plant. And with that inspection, it gives people idea where to go to clean up that dust. And then we do our weekly inspections, which include high-end cleanup, purlings and wall purlings, things like that, which is a little more aggressive. And we also, from those inspections, if there's a leak somewhere or whatnot, we will get that dealt with. Since the implementation of our combustible dust program, we've seen a reduction in combustible dust.
The deflagration controls is a process that we began a little while ago where we brought in a consultant to conduct a hazard analysis for us. And we are now working with suppliers to look at our systems and what we need to upgrade and change in our systems to protect our systems from deflagration events.
One of the significant issues in wood pellet plants and other industries handling combustible dust is that in these processes, which have interconnected equipment, the deflagration can propagate from a primary piece of equipment to a secondary piece of equipment, and often the secondary deflagration can be more catastrophic than the first. So an important technique that needs to be implemented in order to manage the risk associated with deflagration propagation is deflagration isolation. WPAC, in conjunction with Dalhousie University and myself through OBEX Risk, collaborated with a range of stakeholders in the wood pellet industry and combustible dust management sector to undertake a study examining deflagration isolation. And some important factors to consider that were identified through the study was the importance of maintenance and proper installation of these systems. That includes performing preventative maintenance as per the manufacturer's specifications. When you have an effective housekeeping program and remove dust accumulations, that helps reduce the effects of secondary explosions that could take place in a wood pellet operation if a deflagration were to occur and propagate through the process. One of the first steps a wood pellet plant needs to take is to perform a hazard analysis. So a dust hazard analysis is a systematic approach to identifying key combustible dust hazards in your facility and identifying the measures that you have in place and identifying other recommended measures that could help mitigate the impacts of a flash fire, a deflagration, or an explosion. The next step to implementing deflagration isolation equipment successfully is examining suitable equipment that could be leveraged and installed in your facility to help reduce the risk. The next step is installing that add-on equipment properly, as that is a critical part of ensuring that it will work effectively when needed. And last but not least, maintaining the isolation equipment is another important step in order to making sure that the effects of deflagration can be mitigated if that were to occur in a facility.
The Critical Control Management Project, as part of the WorkSafe BC Process Safety Initiative, involved working with the pellet sector in BC to perform bow tie analysis.
So bow tie analysis and critical control management are just one piece of the overall process safety and process safety management framework, where there is an opportunity to implement and enhance that in the wood pellet industry. So process safety management is a framework that would help manage the different aspects and elements that wood pellet operations can help address and mitigate those scenarios that could lead to loss-producing events. At the beginning of the critical control management or CCM process, you conduct a thorough risk assessment using bow tie analysis. After the risk assessment is completed, you identify controls that you deem critical, whether they be controls that would address multiple hazards or multiple threats, and deal with different scenarios that could lead to a large loss of control event at a wood pellet plant. By examining and identifying these, you can assign responsibilities and accountabilities to help ensure that those controls are effective.
Bow tie analysis is traditionally a process that involves engineering departments in oil and gas or pulp mills. Pellet plants don't necessarily have those resources at hand. So we had to develop a process that could be utilized at this operational level.
It forced us to identify what are called critical controls. The critical controls are those that if everything else fails, if all of your other controls fail, that one critical control will keep your people safe.
We put on a belt dryer symposium at the request of WorkSafe BC with the industry. And it was because of the increased fire events that were taking place. Belt dryers, in terms of their nature, are supposed to be safer and not catch on fire as much. So from the symposium, we created working groups. So we had 4 working groups that met in 2021. It was all virtual because of the pandemic. And during the working group meetings, we explored the various aspects of belt dryer safety, and we're just now finishing the final report. One of the things that the operations are looking at is to take a critical look at their current equipment, and when they have to go to replace that equipment, to consider using equipment that does a better job at removing the contaminants. And so it also means removing the sparks that end up on the belts. There's spark detect deluge systems or micro mist systems that can be installed to help eliminate that ignition source, the spark, from landing on the belt.
My name is Shahab Sokansanj, and I'm an adjunct professor in the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering, University of British Columbia. We initiated the Biomass and Bioenergy Research Group that consists of a number of graduate students, undergraduate students, professors, and the group together in collaboration have been able to do quite a lot of good work. So training of highly qualified personnel is one of the most significant work that we've done in terms of supporting the industry.
My name is Fahime Yazdan-Panah, and I'm the Director of Research and Technical Development for Wood Pellet Association of Canada. I also am a research associate at UBC's Biomass and Bioenergy Research Group. When I started my graduate studies in 2007, there were a couple of fatal accidents where stevedores went into ship holds that were carrying wood pellets and they were overcome by carbon monoxide. At the time, really no one knew what was going on and what was creating that dangerous environment. It was again the very first time that anyone was doing off-gassing research at that scale. Today, those data that I collected are being used as the foundation of a number of international standards and guidelines and practical procedures that industry is using for storage, handling, and transportation of solid biofuels. That work is for sure making a difference, and that makes me very proud.
One of the major achievements that was recognized by industry was that International Bioenergy Award. The award was given to us in the recognition of our contribution, changing the art of handling of biomass into science.
Since 2014, WPAC Safety Committee has anchored its vision through an annual safety plan that really holds the association accountable to keep searching for new technologies and research to provide a safer culture. We always say that we don't compete on safety, and our producers have proved that over and over. What makes me really proud is our members' willingness and openness to share and learn. I myself witnessed firsthand the phenomenal collaboration between pellet producers, dryer manufacturers, consultants, and academic representatives.
Everything safety makes me proud. That every time somebody reports something, every time something gets fixed or dealt with in a timely manner, that all of it makes me proud.
There is nobody here who is doing it on their own. It's a true team effort. There's no point in making a product if you can't do it safely.
There's a good group of people here that are passionate about looking after each other and doing the right thing for the right reason. And that just makes my life a whole lot easier at the end of the day.